Okay, so, we've talked about Spectacular Spider-Man. You guys loved it. We talked about the 90s Spider-Man. You guys loved it. Now it's time to talk about a Spider-Man cartoon that isn't the best, but it also isn't the worst. Ultimate Spider-Man began in 2012 when I was 3 or 4, so when I began to watch this show, it played a part in introducing Spider-Man to me. It was this show, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, and 60s Spider-Man. Those were the 3 pieces of media that introduced me to Spider-Man. So I have a soft spot for Ultimate Spider-Man, but how good of a show is it? Honestly, let's just start with Season 1. Season 1, Peter has been Spider-Man for a year, and he's recruited by Nick Fury because while he's catching the bad guy, he's still got a lot to learn to be a great hero. An ultimate hero. Yeah, that's probably the reason why this show is called Ultimate Spider-Man, because they keep saying the word ultimate in it. But when Spidey joins S.H.I.E.L.D., he learns he has to lead a new group of rookie heroes, Iron Fist, Power Man, White Tiger, and Nova. And I gotta tell you, this show was my introduction to all 4 of those characters. Actually, it was also my introduction to Nick Fury and Agent Coulson. One thing though about Fury helping Spider-Man, I think this is actually one reason this show isn't well liked. Because Fury is helping Spidey constantly. He's even incorporating S.H.I.E.L.D. into his school. This is actually a complaint that even Tom Holland's Spider-Man has, being helped by Iron Man. I personally never had a problem with this in the MCU or Ultimate Spider-Man, but I guess it bothered some people since Spider-Man is usually so independent. Season 1 of the show is actually a really good season. The main villain is Norman Osborn, wanting to create an army of his own Spider-Men, and has Doc Ock, voiced by SpongeBob, helping him. But the reason I actually love Season 1, this has always been the reason, it's the comedy. This show is very comedic. The animation can be really funny, and the jokes land so well for me. So that's the main reason I love this show. The 3rd episode literally has Dr. Doom in it, and this was also my introduction to Doom. I'll give you a rundown of some of the other episodes. We've got a few episodes with Venom, and it's actually Harry who's Venom in this show. There's an episode with Taskmaster, voiced by Mr. Krabs, Juggernaut, Beetle, Sandman, and we even have team-ups with Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Thor, Doctor Strange, and Wolverine. I'm only kind of brushing through Season 1 because it basically only gets story crucial toward the end. A few notes actually, J. Jonah Jameson is actually voiced by J.K. Simmons in this show, but he's always on a TV screen, literally the whole time. Like, literally the whole time. And I also should talk about the voice actor, Drake Bell. Look, Drake Bell's a good actor and pretty good voice for Spider-Man, but he's not Josh Keaton or Christopher Daniel Barnes or Yuri Lowenthal good, but he's probably in 4th place for me. But let's talk about the finale. So in the end, Doc Ock turns Norman into the Green Goblin. Holy moly, he's huge! So basically, Goblin destroys the helicarrier, and Spider-Man has to fight him and Venom off. But in the very end, the helicarrier is destroyed, Harry blames Spidey for Goblin, and Peter lets his team move in with him because they lived on the helicarrier. So yeah, that's Season 1. My favorite season because, well, like I said, the comedy. I'm also about to say something that might sound very upside down and sound like horrible logic, but I like it when the show is goofy and fun. It makes for a good time, and as the show progresses, it gets less funny each season. I don't know if it's because they have less humor or the jokes aren't as funny, but it's definitely not as hilarious as Season 1. So while that logic might sound ridiculous, that's just how I feel about the show. So yeah, let's get on to Season 2. So, Season 2 is about building up the Sinister Six. We've got Lizard, Electro, voiced by Christopher Daniel Barnes actually, Rhino, who's just a child, Kraven the Hunter, and the Beetle. All of it builds to the Sinister Six episode. Afterwards, we see Carnage for literally 2 seconds in the episode titled Carnage. Yeah, he got brushed off in his own episode. We've also got some other more small episodes, which were really good actually. We've even got one with Stan Lee. I forgot to mention he's the janitor at Midtown High, so he appears here and there, and he kills it every time. We even get one Deadpool episode, which really makes me hope we get a Spidey and Deadpool interaction somewhere in the MCU. We also get the Guardians of the Galaxy before their MCU debut. Some others, they were okay. But back to the story. Norman is cured and decides to become a hero, the Iron Patriot. Yeah, War Machine isn't the original Iron Patriot. In the comics, it's actually Norman Osborn. But the Sinister Six returns and Spidey beats them again. But Norman is once again turned back into Goblin and turns the team into goblins and threatens the city all in one night? Where'd this armor even come from? But Spidey defeats Goblin, and by doing so, the Avengers want him to join their team, and Season 2 ends with a cliffhanger where Spidey must choose between joining the Avengers or stick with his own team. So, overall, Season 2 is still pretty good. Not as good as Season 1, but it still has its humor. But let's see how Season 3 goes. It's actually not as good. So, Season 3, I guess, changed the title to Ultimate Spider-Man Web Warriors, so okay. So Spidey joins the Avengers for like 2 episodes, and leaves to go back with his original team. We learn there's a new generation of superheroes that S.H.I.E.L.D. wants to recruit, which could have worked. We could have got Miss Marvel, would have loved that. Kate Bishop, would have loved that. Miles, okay, to be honest, I'm actually thinking more about the MCU Spidey interacting with MCU Hawkeye and Miss Marvel, but it would have been cool for Ultimate as well. But Instead, we got Agent Venom just completely rushing Flash Thompson's arc. Cloak and Dagger, except they're on the opposing team. I should also say Taskmaster wants to recruit these heroes too, so it's a race. We also have Amanda's Cho, who basically stole the Iron Spider suit, and we have Kazar. Yeah, I really hope Spidey, Kate Bishop, and Miss Marvel interact in the MCU. Please. So with the team assembled, they're soon attacked by Taskmaster, whose main goal is to break out Goblin, which makes him the villain for the 3rd time! But anyway, Spidey also defeats Taskmaster, and Cloak and Dagger join the team. But anyway, Goblin uses Electro to travel to other dimensions to gather DNA from other Spideys. That's right, we're getting a Spider-Verse event. So let's see what we have. We have Spider-Man 2099, Spider-Girl, literally just a gender swap of Peter actually, Spider-Noir, Spider-Ham, Spider-Knight, and of course, Miles Morales, which creates a big fight with all the Spideys teaming up, and Norman is finally cured forever. But hold on, I need to mention something. So Agent Coulson is actually gone in this show because he was committed to another show, so Stan Lee is the principal now, yet we never even see this. And with the new characters here, Spidey ignores his original team, and that makes me mad because we had 2 seasons of build-up for nothing, and Spidey left the Avengers for them, and he isn't even... Another thing, S.H.I.E.L.D. creates a whole new Triskelion with a school for the new heroes, so Peter leaves Midtown High to go here, and we don't see Spidey without the costume for 7 episodes! He eats in it, he sleeps in it, he better wash it. In other words, Peter Parker's story is just gone. Something I am now desperately hoping Brand New Day won't do. At least not to this extent. We can't get rid of Peter Parker entirely, but I don't think the movie's gonna go that far, thank goodness. A couple other episodes include Rhino joining, an episode with Ant-Man. We even get Arnim Zola set up as a villain, but this is all Iron Spider's fault. Then he comes back with a goo army and fights with Spidey. In the last few episodes, we get the Contest of Champions with the Collector and Grandmaster, which was actually really fun. We even find out Aunt May knew Peter was Spidey all along. So yeah, a very weird and mixed season to be sure, but we've only got 1 season left, and holy moly, do they go crazy on this season. First of all, they changed the title again to Ultimate Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six. Holy moly, that's a mouthful. So when things are going great for Spidey, Hydra attacks and Doc Ock gets an upgraded look. What the heck is this? They made Doc Ock a worm! We also get introduced to the Scarlet Spider, so let's put him on the team. Yeah, Spidey trusts Scarlet Spider pretty quickly. Even Flash Thompson isn't that trusting. Miles Morales is actually back as well, and is trapped in this dimension because... well, probably because he was getting more popular in real life. They also make Miles exactly like Peter. Like, no, don't do that! Miles is always different from Peter. One of the reasons I love the Miles Morales game is because of how different he is. Same thing with Spider-Verse. He's gonna do his own thing. They also name him Kid Arachnid. That's just horrible. That's just horrible. We get another episode with Venom because we're out of ideas. Iron Spider almost becomes a killer because... why? Harry becomes a superhero but then turns into Anti-Venom, so it's Venom again. Actually, I don't know if this is a hot take, but do you think Anti-Venom should have been, like, a villain in the Venom trilogy? Doesn't matter which film, but do you think Anti-Venom should have been there? So with all this build-up, the Sinister Six attack, and it's suspected there's a mole in the team, so... who do you think it is? Yep. The Scarlet Spider. So Doc Ock knows Peter is Spidey, and Scarlet Spider feels guilty, so he sacrifices himself. He's not dead. Also, Doc Ock knowing that Peter is Spidey actually has almost no consequences whatsoever. It's like he literally spends the whole show trying to figure out who Spider-Man is. Basically nothing happens. Well, nothing until the finale. But remember how Carnage was brushed off in his first episode? Well, now he gets a 3-parter. Basically, Carnage spreads across the city. Anti-Venom is who stops it, with Peter revealing his identity to Harry, but then Carnage affects MJ, and Peter has to reveal his identity again! And then we get Spider-Verse again! For what reason? Oh, right. We meet Blood Spider, Pirate Spidey, Cowboy Spidey, Spider-Noir, wait, we already met him, and Spider-Gwen. And she is done in a way that I can only describe as what the actual heck. She has no real powers, just tech. This is Miles' world, not hers, and Aunt May is her guy in the chair. Nowhere near as good as this legend right here. Yeah, honestly, this whole thing just makes me appreciate Spider-Verse Gwen even more. So the villain is revealed to be a wolf spider. And he's actually voiced by Christopher Daniel Barnes. That man deserved so much better. And remember how Miles is trapped in Peter's dimension? Well, he has the chance to go back to his own world, but decides to move him and his mom to Peter's dimension because he likes it there. They don't even pack bags! Alright, well, anyway, we've had Carnage and Spider-Verse, so let's take a break, shall we? Oh, come on! So in this three-parter, Scarlet Spider is alive, revealed to be a clone, and MJ still has Carnage inside her, and becomes Spider-Woman. You know what, I'm just gonna brush by this because I just want to get to the finale. So we meet more clones of Spidey. Oh, forget this, they win the battle. Let's just get to the finale. In the finale, it's graduation day at S.H.I.E.L.D. Spidey has his team capture the Sinister Six, but they soon trap all the heroes in a force field, and Spidey is forced to give up his powers, so he has to go to Oscorp to find the spider that bit him, and the spider is still alive, and he immediately gets his powers back. That's easily, yeah. That was easy. He beats the Sinister Six for the 20th time in a row, and then Doc Ock turns good after one conversation. You know what? Let's just get my final thoughts out of the way. So, is Ultimate Spider-Man overhated? Season 1, it's amazing. Season 2, it's good. Season 3, it's mid. Season 4, what the heck. I will always watch Season 1 of Ultimate Spider-Man, say what you want, but Season 1 is pure comedy gold to me. I'll just never watch the other seasons. Honestly, when making this video, I didn't realize how much this show, like, screwed Spidey as it continued. Like, this is... At least we have these two shows to watch, you know, the ones that did it right. Of course, there was the 2017 Spider-Man show to watch, which... you guys can just let me know if you want me to discuss that one. Thank you all so much for watching. Click this video here. Do you think this one the best? Make sure to like and subscribe. See you guys.